Relationship Podcast. I'm your host, Shane, aka Chips.
And I'm your host, Jason, aka Fish.
Right. So today we're going to be mostly going to be talking about The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 9, which is called Honor.
And also we'll be talking about our Oscar predictions before the Oscar ceremony on Sunday night.
So we're going to start off with the Walking Dead, and just a quick summary for what happened in the episode, which is for a spoiler alert before you get into the skip, 50 minutes or so to get to the.
We'll put a timestamp.
We'll put a timestamp in it.
Just in case you hate The Walking Dead. To be fair, sometimes I hate The Walking Dead too. So
sometimes I hate you too, Jason.
Oh, thanks, Shane. I appreciate it, man.
So. Cool. So the show opens up with the dream sequence, which is a big part of this episode, and also the other big part is Carl himself.
Yeah.
So it's basically just Carl and the dream sequence. It's swapping between. There's other stuff going on, but that's the main focus in the episode.
I'd say so too. It's definitely it's kind of a farewell episode to Carl, because obviously, as we found out in the mid-season finale, that he got bit by a walker, so he's dying, of course, because of that. So it's kind of a farewell episode for Carl, and it turns out that the kind of dreamish sequence we've been seeing throughout the season with old man Rick sitting in a bed, waking up to a day in Alexandria in the future, that's been Carl's visions throughout the season, or throughout the
also
season.
The dream sequence in previous episode was Carl was in that dream sequence, wasn't he?
I don't think he was shown.
Was he shown in that dream sequence? Because I'm not too sure because if he was in it, then it qualifies as a dream sequence, because for all we know, it could be just a future scene.
It could be, yeah. Well, it could be a future scene.
It's a combination kind of thing, because I feel the Negan thing is going to be in that, definitely going to be a taste of it anyway.
Yeah, but I feel like it's something that's being written throughout the season. So as things are changing, maybe people are disappearing in and out of the I don't think that it's real life. I think it's more like a dream of the idealistic future kind of thing. Yeah. As I don't think it's like a flash forward, say Lost used to do back in the day. I think it's more just an actual vision, or not a vision, more like an actual dream, almost. Yeah. A dream for the future.
Yeah, but what I noticed, maybe they didn't mean anything by it, but the dream still continued when Carl died in the episode.
Yeah.
Which means that, I know that kind of means the dream is still alive, but it could be it's also a sign that it's going into place now.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is that there's definitely. From this, there's going to be a flash forward, I reckon, after the end of this season.
Do you think? Oh, I'd say so too.
There's going to be a flash forward.
Not a flash forward, just there's
going
to be a time skip, yeah.
Time skip, yeah.
Flash forwards are different,
Flash forwards, sorry.
Something that only Lost does. Yeah.
There's going to be a time
No, I know what you mean, yeah. Yeah. There's going to be what do you think? The comic books had
The comic books had the skip forward in it, which is also the other reason why I think this is going to happen, and also the other reason why I'm judging the skip forward is going to be off of the fact that they had that. It's going to be just the way the dream sequence was made. Also, if you haven't caught on yet, there is slight, very minor spoilers to the comics if you're really that fussy about it, but.
We're not going to talk about too much.
We're not going to focus too much on it.
Yeah, it might just be small mentions. So essentially in the comic books there is a skip forward, but
they haven't exactly gone with the
comics completely.
But the only thing is, I think they will do the skip forward though now, because my biggest thing was how if they did the skip forward before when Carl was alive, it would be a lot harder to make it look like a skip forward, because they're going to keep the same actor, obviously. If they were doing the skip forward,
I think he's at an age now where you can make him look older, because he's 18.
That's true
too. You definitely like give him a haircut or something.
Like for Judas, they're just going to cast a different actor. Like,
oh yeah, sure. They already have kind of. I mean, they already showed.
How many different actors have they gotten shoot for?
Oh, I don't even know, man. It'd be kind of cool to think if they actually used the same person throughout, but I'm pretty sure they haven't.
No, they haven't. It's not like the dog in Lost.
Yeah, was that the same dog?
Same dog throughout.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so like, but it would be doable. I don't think that was. I feel like the main. I don't really know what the reason was for killing him off. Like, as in from what Chandler Riggs is saying, it kind of seems like he was ready to commit to the show long term.
The actor wanted to leave.
No, but sure, he bought a house next to the set though.
So he changed his mind. I thought he said he wanted to.
It was like a rumor a year ago that he wanted to leave the show and go to college, but he committed to the show then. Like, he bought a house next to where they shoot it every year, and he said that he was really excited to come back for future seasons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that the reason they killed him off was because they were stagnating a bit. They wanted to do something maybe braver.
Well, they had to do something big because
I think so.
Last season was Glenn dying, which was the biggest coward move that they've ever made.
Yeah.
Because I know he died eventually, but they started off that season with Glenn's dead, and then it's like no,
that was the start of season 6.
Season 6. Oh, was it?
Yeah,
season
it was.
6?
Yeah, season 7. Sure, at the start was when Negan took out the bat. Like.
Oh,
that was the start of the last season.
Oh, so it was season 6 he died in.
Yeah,
it was season 6.
Oh, was it? Wait, am I wrong?
Yeah, because he was around last season, wasn't? Oh no,
he died at the start of last season, didn't he?
Second now.
Yeah, because this entire it did, man. Because all of season 8's been the war.
Yeah.
So season 7 was like being under Negan, that kind of stuff. Like after they were killed with the baseball bats, and then season 6 was when of course Glenn glitched through the dumpster.
Yeah, yeah. I just double checked it there. The start of season 7 was with Glenn's death.
Yeah.
And season 6 was him getting glitched into a dumpster.
Yeah, but I thought the way they handled that was really poor. Like, as in when they actually did the baseball, that episode with the season 1 or the season 7 premiere was a really good episode.
Yeah,
like it was a really good episode. Like they had that whole who was killed, who wasn't killed. Like, they killed off Abraham at the start of the episode.
Yeah.
And then at the end you find out that Glenn was also killed too. Like halfway through the episode, or like towards the end. That entire episode though was like it was really good acting by like especially Andrew Lincoln. Like, I think he really doesn't get he really doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Like, I feel like he's kind of always been. I know that his character flip flops a lot, but I don't think that's based off the actor. It's based off like the actual. I
haven't seen most of the cast in The Walking Dead. Haven't really been in anything else nowadays.
Well, not nowadays. Andrew Lincoln was in a miniseries called Chris Ryan Strike Back before he did The Walking Dead, and he was really good in that. He played this guy who like this military man essentially. I won't spoil it just in case anyone wants to watch it, but it's because it's quite a good TV show.
I know, but a lot of them I haven't seen them in much at all.
Yeah, neither have I, to be fair. I can't think of anyone else being in. Michonne was in the new Black Panther movie. Though.
Oh, is she? Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. We're not talking about. Did you not
see the new Black Panther movie? Oh man, it's good. Yeah, we won't talk about that anyway. We're talking about The Walking Dead. So this episode, what other kind of plot points?
So we're going to probably we only kind of just slightly discuss the dream sequence, but I think before we get into the big stuff like Carl's death, obviously, and basically Carl's death and the whole Negan thing, because we haven't properly discussed the possibilities of Negan in next season. Like, so I want to discuss Morgan and Carol. Yeah, because there was the whole thing there. Because we've heard already that Morgan's going to be moving on to Fear the Walking Dead.
Was he actually leaving the show fully?
I think he's leaving the Walking Dead fully now. But I've heard that. But this whole season, because in recent episodes, Morgan was kind of like he just turned to killing state, and now this episode he's gone all out again. Yeah, we've seen him. He was massacring a load of people. So we were basically introduced to him with just no mercy. Like, sure. So do you think, because there's a possibility they might actually just kill him off on the show, because they're going to bring him onto Fear, but for all we know, he's going to be over there in the time that he was because the time frame's off point. You haven't seen Fear the Walking Dead.
I haven't seen Fear the Walking Dead at all.
Yeah, well, they're just going to do it. He doesn't necessarily have to be alive at this point in the Walking Dead
to be in Fear the Walking Dead. I get that. Yeah.
And for all we know, they could just throw him into. They could kill him off by doing the fast forward 2 or 3 years and kill him off then.
Yeah, and he could die off screen. You never know. Like, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do with him. He could just leave, man.
Yeah. Well, the actor's obviously committed to Walking Dead if he's moving to Fear.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're probably just done with him on Walking Dead.
I think he likes playing Morgan. Like, Morgan's quite a good character. People say like he kind of flip flops like Rick a bit, but I wouldn't really say that. Like, he's kind of gone from being like this dad to being like this really hopeless, desperate man to being like this man of like faith, and now kind of going like maybe like falling back a bit on his like more primal side of like just killing people like without real. I wouldn't say that he has no remorse. Because you could see throughout the episode that he was getting a bit like flustered with the stuff he was doing.
I think he's gone through a more cleaner version of what Carol female Carol went through before, because in previous seasons they tried something where Carol didn't want to kill anyone anymore, and she was basically forced into a situation where she killed. But it was so back then it was very messy how they did it.
Yeah, they did it very poorly. It could have been really cool as well.
It could have been. They just nobody knew why she was acting the way she was until it went to the end, and it was just so messy. But now they're trying that again, just with Morgan. Yeah, they're doing it. It's a lot cleaner of a version, and he's also the fact that the kid killed your man.
Yeah,
killed. I keep referencing him as Negan Psychic.
Negan Psychic is like the guy that played Trevor in GTA.
Oh yeah, well Simon.
Simon. Yeah, I couldn't remember your man's name. Yeah, I know
Well, there was a group of them anyway.
Yeah. It was one of many.
There's one of many.
One of many Negans.
Dwight Simon, the fella who died this episode, and there was the woman. They're all kind of they're the second in commands.
Yeah.
They're like
the apostles.
They're the apostles to it.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I got a bit off point there.
Well,
Morgan. So I reckon that I'm not too sure if they're going to kill they'll kill if he'll just leave. I think that's actually just what they're going to do. They're just going to have him walk off on his own again, because literally he's been known in the Walking Dead throughout seasons for just
not being there.
For not being there. Yeah. He's just a guy who appears and disappears, because he's not even as bad as that in the comics. In the comics, he didn't really have that much appearance. I'm pretty sure, because I didn't actually read through most of the start of the comics, but he just appeared and just stuck, whereas he appeared and then disappeared.
Yeah, I think he appeared.
He had like one episode scenes, like
he did. Yeah, well, he had one episode in like season 3 where he was like killing a lot of walkers and stuff. He was in like a city.
Yeah, I remember that. Was a pretty
good episode. Yeah, that was a pretty good episode. But there was a lot of hints that he was gonna a lot of teasers,
because they had a lot of things where he was just when the cannibals. When they were around, he was like following traces or something to them, but now I think he's going to go back on that path, because he seems like he's not a people person.
Yeah, I do think though that the fact that the kid killed your man, I do feel that could be like a turning point for Morgan, because he looked a bit like he was even like shocked at what happened.
Yeah, he could bring the kid with him,
possibly
when he goes. Because it could be like a thing where it's like teach the kid what he couldn't teach his son type of a thing. He could.
That was what his your man's like the kid's brother.
Yeah.
Was that to Morgan originally, and then obviously he died. Like, and that's what drove Morgan. Because this kid is
Morgan's responsibility in a sense right now.
Yeah.
Because he was training him, and now the kid just went and he's been seeing how, because Morgan is like his sensei in a sense.
Yeah.
And it was like, if he sees him doing this shit, like going on fucking tantrums to kill people, going on a fucking massacre, like, so he just goes and he's like, so he expects me to eventually stab this guy in the head, which is what happened. Also, I like how it related to Cal's story, which he was talking about. When they right before the kid actually killed your man, Carl was saying about was referencing to a previous season when he killed a young fella
at the prison.
Yeah. I actually I briefly remember that what he's referencing to.
Yeah, kind of. I remember the attack, but
I remember I remember the attack, but I remember there was he was like 20s, I think, or that, and he was like, it wasn't sure if he was with the governor's team or what, so they just so Carl wasn't taking any chances and killed him.
I think he was. I think it was. I remember that kid being like, he was between like 16, 17, that kind of age.
Yeah.
At the time.
Was it? Yeah.
So he was some age around that. Yeah, he was. He said that Carl said he was around his age right now. So
it was it was impactful because of how young he was as well.
Yeah.
And I like how I like this episode more because they made direct references to things before, to previous episodes. Yeah. I would have appreciated maybe, especially for a character like Carl, if they did a few flashbacks.
Yeah, that could have been nice.
Just even if it was whether it was scenes we just saw before, because you couldn't do much with a character that's.
There's no need to film with his younger self.
With his younger self, like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, also, they don't have the budget to do CGI shit for it, right?
I don't think it would be worth it anyway. No, it just wouldn't be worth it for like what they're doing.
But it would have been nice if they had a few scenes cut from it, like.
Yeah.
Or just.
No, I agree. Yeah. No, I just think that the way that they actually handled this episode overall though was pretty good. Like with killing off Carl, like. Yeah. I feel like it was probably the best way they could have done it. I'm kind of annoyed that they did still though.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it's kind of a waste. Just because of like the comics and like kind of the stuff that happens there. It just seems like a waste to kill him off. And like also, I know that like in early seasons people didn't really like Carl that much. But I feel like his actor especially has really grown in the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's actually a decent actor. He was very well in this this episode. He really showed off his skills.
He did,
because it was his standalone thing. Also, I do kind of like how they killed all your suspicions of whether he's going to live or not.
Yeah.
In the thing, because a lot of people were scared that they were going to do the Glenn situation again.
Yeah, like he would like it would be something to do with the Whispers, which we won't really talk about, or it would be like he'd be immune or something.
Yeah,
I thought it would be kind of cool if it turned out that he was immune. It could set up something interesting for the show actually ending, even though I know that they're talking about like extending it for at least 3 or 4 more seasons.
Yeah.
But I also kind of would be happy if it ended, because I feel like it's like The Walking Dead's prime was a couple of years ago, and it really hasn't been the same since like from like season 3 to like, because I know a lot of people say that season 1 is the best season. I'd agree with that too. But like season 2 is so bad that it's like hard to count season 2 as like its prime. Like I feel like the prime of The Walking Dead was like from seasons 3 to like 5.
Yeah.
Around then, like maybe including season 1 too. Like after that, it's kind of been going downhill slowly. Like ever since the Glenn dumpster situation, I feel like a lot of people have been taking the show a lot less seriously.
Also, they messed up when they brought back your last episode. So they had brought back the other a character before.
Who, Morales?
Morales.
Oh, yeah. That was at the earliest. That was like the stupidest thing ever. So, like one thing that really annoyed me is that Scott Gimple. Sorry,
yeah.
Scott Gimple. Yeah, he's gone now. Thank God. Well, I think he's not showrunner anymore. I think he's like a producer or something. Yeah. I can't remember. But essentially, he said something about how they wanted to find a reason for, like, essentially at the end of the season, they wanted to find a reason for like Rick, trusting Negan, yeah, like trusting Negan and like not killing him.
Yeah.
So they decided that the best way to do that would be to kill off Carl, and then Carl to give like Rick this wisdom of like, you can't kill all your enemies, you need to like build bridges and stuff. But like a better way to have done that would have been to bring back Morales. I know he's been gone for a lot of years, but do something good with his character, bring him back, and like have Morales show Rick that like Negan isn't all terrible, and like that he is good at protecting people, and he's not a completely bad guy. It's just that his methods, like his beliefs, like all in all aren't like, and the end result of them aren't actually that bad. It's just the methods that he uses to get things done is what is wrong.
Well, it's not Negan himself, just Negan they want to shed light on. It's the saviors themselves. What they did actually this episode with the I'm going to keep calling him Negan's sidekick, talking to Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Because he had very good he had very interesting insight when he was talking to Ezekiel. Although I felt like some of the conversations, you could have done without.
Yeah.
But the psychic was basically saying half the time that he was like, I mean, I'm just on the other side of the coin. I'm not going to change it to suit you. Like, it's literally like, I'm sticking with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And, like, I think this is what's better for people, and it's like he wasn't like the other saviors that they've presented before, where it was just utter he was like a savage or something.
Yeah,
he was like, this is actually functioning right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I feel like they could have. He was because he was like, especially how he cooperated with Negan with Ezekiel was the whole thing that actually added to the character as well, was the fact that. He wasn't. He didn't actually go into the camp if he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because he never went into Ezekiel's camp because they just cooperated, and he was like, "That's the type of structure you should have just stuck with."
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just you're. It's an alliance, but it's not exactly the best alliance, but it's an alliance nonetheless,
same,
because it's a. It's kill each other. What's the word? It's kill or be killed world. Like,
yeah, no, it is. Yeah, dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog. That's it.
I just think that like it would have been really interesting though to explore the world of the Saviors a bit more through a character who we already were acquainted with. In like what I would say is probably the strongest season overall, like season 1. Like it's not like a lot of people would have forgotten who he is. And, like, he wasn't even, like, that big a character in season 1.
I barely remembered him.
Dude, I had to look it up, like, honestly. I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? But at the same time, I'm kind of like, they could have done something interesting with his character, I think. They could have given his character more depth. Like, I really don't understand the way that they just brought him back and killed him. Like, I know that they wanted to show, like, that Daryl is, like, starting to just, like, kill people, kind of, like... because it also showed that at the end of the episode, too, when he shot that guy that Rick told that he would protect. Like, this is, like, episode 3 or 4, I can't remember. But I just think that, like, they could have done that a better way. Like, I don't know why they had to bring back Morales at all. It just seems like a waste. That just seems like what The Walking Dead is overall. Like, this episode overall was quite good. But I'm still not forgetting that the show as a whole is a bit of a mess, like, for the most part.
I'd love to keep talking about Morales and stuff. But I guess we better stick to the episode itself.
Yeah, for the most part. Well, we can talk about the season overall as well. Like, I think that, like... Yeah. Maybe this episode, like, as a whole was, I thought, very, very good. Like, I thought it was very strong.
It was definitely above the, it was definitely the best this season. I would even go as far as to say.
I know, I like the name, I like the episode with Negan and
Gabriel. Father Gabriel.
Oh, was that this season too? It was this season, yeah.
That was. I like that season. They were trapped in the.
Yeah, that's the episode I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Also, Gabriel's gotten to be a better. I know he wasn't in this episode, but he's gotten to be a better character.
Yeah, he's a great character right now, man. Yeah. I also like the episode 2, the episode before that with King Ezekiel and the kingdom being like wiped out. That was a really good episode too. I feel like this episode is in the same vein as those episodes. Like, it is quite good, and like it is telling that this episode is the same director as the one where, do you remember Tyrese when he was killed? Same director. And you can really tell that with like the actual like shots and stuff, like as in like the actual filmmaking techniques in this episode are very, very good. Like, as in, but I also think that as a whole, like, this TV show has been stagnating, and like I'm hopeful that the second half will be better. And I'm also happy that Scott Gimple is going, like, and that he'll be gone, and that his influence in the show hopefully won't be as big. But I'm still kind of worried. I'm just hopeful that, because they've done this thing with, like, they've killed off Carl, and a lot of the fan base isn't happy about that, and I get that. But I do think that if they pull off what they're doing next, right, then it'll be worth it. Like,
killing off characters is it's a thing that's necessary to actually develop the story.
100%.
But because people view that as a negative. I actually wanted to talk about because before we get into the end of the episode and stuff, the main focus of the main parts of the episode, I would like to get into what was actually bad about the episode. Do you have any flaws with it? Criticisms. For me anyway, what I thought was, they were all in the tunnel with Carl dying and that. But one thing was kind of a bit annoying. Not all, a lot of the characters didn't that were there. They just looked at Carl and it's like, you've known Carl for so long. Why didn't you just go? The seeing him not like. It was like they didn't really care about Carl or anything.
Yeah,
not saying
no,
goodbye
I thought
or
that
thing.
too.
When you were looking at it, it was a small details, but it's at the same.
No, I actually thought that as well.
That was a big thing. It was like, you saw, you were like, if Dwight didn't say goodbye to fucking Carl, I mean like, no, not Dwight. I mean Daryl. Sorry.
Yeah, Daryl. The thing with Daryl was quite weird.
Daryl like said goodbye. He gave a better goodbye than others. And what's her name? I hate to say it, but the one who's a lesbian.
Tara.
Tara.
God, I hate Tara, man. She's the worst.
But
character.
she was there. She was looking at Carl, and she gave him a stare. But she did not utter a single word.
She's a shit character, and like, who cares? Hopefully, she's dead by then.
I know, but she did not utter a word. It was like,
please.
Why don't you say goodbye?
I know, it was weird.
It's like I understand. I understand that Carl. It was up to the other characters to kind of say it. I mean, but Carl wrote down. I understand he did the thing where Carl wrote notes to people, so they'll focus. They might show in another episode. Oh, Carl actually said goodbye to me. We'll show the scene, but it just seemed. I guess they were just trying to cramp in stuff. But there was a few scenes anyway that I thought they could have covered that up with a bit. Anyway. I mean, they could have, if they want, I think they should have focused even a bit more on Carl as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually the focus wasn't enough. I know it was a Carl focus episode, but they were going, there was a lot of things where it was like, how they had the scenes cut out. There was like 10 different, there was like, they flashed between 4 different things in like 2 minutes. At one stage.
They would. Yeah,
they literally went. They went to Rick, to Carl, to Morgan, just at the start, just in the opening credits. Like, what's it? In 2 minutes, they cut through between 4 different scenes, because they have one scene where it was literally like, why did you? They showed Ezekiel's face for no reason at one stage. They just cut in and it was like, oh, Ezekiel's still in this episode type of thing. I don't know. I thought they should have just cut out a few things just to include Carol a bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I actually did kind of feel like at one point they switched away from him for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, is this not supposed to be kind of a bit more of a like, so say like with the Tyrese
would have been nice
episode,
if they did a voiceover with Carol.
They kind of did, like when they
briefly did.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, they might do a next episode of that, but with the letters and stuff, it feels like they might use that as his voice type of a thing. But they probably do that when they fast forward a bit.
Yeah,
probably use him once or twice more.
Yeah, I did like though the fact that they didn't really have that many actors all together in this. Like they didn't cut back needlessly to like the hilltop or anything like that. Yeah. They kind of kept it quite focused for the most part. Like even with parts where they cut away from Carl for longish periods, like they did for the most part have a decent focus on Carl. I just think that they could have probably done a bit more, seeing as how he's been such a big character on this TV show.
Yeah,
like he's one of the original crew. Like,
yeah, he is.
And like we're saying goodbye to like there isn't that many left now. There's Rick, Carol, and Daryl, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
that's literally it. Like that's all that's left from like the original people. So,
well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with not having the original people around.
Oh, of course not.
It was just how they went about.
Yeah, but it's still like if Friends killed off one of the main 6 characters, like it's almost like that.
Friends.
Like I know, like that's no, but I'm just saying, like an actual like core person that's been in the show.
Haven't you seen How I Met Your Mother?
Hey man, I mean, like better example, maybe something like Lost. Like when Lost killed off, like say I'm not going to say any characters, but like when Lost would kill off one of its big characters, for the most part they would give them some focus, unless you're like a season 6 character, and then they probably wouldn't because.
Well, think of it in the sense that what you call it, 2.5 Men. They went from Charlie Sheen to another fella. Yeah, I know that's only one character, but he was basically he took up Charlie. I know there was reasons behind it, but yeah. Charlie Sheen took up he was half the cast basically in a sense, and they got rid of him and brought in what's the name of the fella? it'll get to me in a second. But
Mila Kunis's boyfriend. I don't know if they're married or not.
We'll call him Shaggy. They brought in Shaggy instead, and
yeah, but to be fair, like I know you're saying that outside reasons and whatever, but the outside reasons are like a big deal in that situation.
I know, but it's like, but yeah, but we're not talking about that. It's the fact that had an impact on the show itself, like how taking off so many things, it makes a huge difference.
So as in the show went from being good to being like trash.
Yeah. I mean, like the reasons doesn't matter when you're watching the show.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck. It's like, oh, what's the actor's background when you're looking at Rick,
I know that.
You know?
No, but I'm just saying, like, I can just think of no reason for not having more of a, like, you know, for not making it a bigger thing.
Well, like, I mean, the whole, like, I don't want to be referencing too much to the comics, but in the comics, they had a dynamic of characters that actually stayed right through. It was like, you know, it was the story of not just Rick, it was the story of Carl, Rick, and Andrea.
Yeah.
Because it became her story as well. They were the three characters. I know, like Michonne was there as well, but they were the ones that the story was around. It was like their dynamic.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of doing that again now, though. Like they're kind actually. This season has been quite an unfocused mess for the most part. Yes. Like we used to complain about how The Walking Dead would only have like one story for an entire episode, and now they're doing like a Game of Thrones in an extreme way where they're having like 5 or 6 stories in one episode.
Yeah.
This episode now was a lot more focused. I thought they only really had 2 stories, like the death of Coral, and also kind of the stuff with Morgan and Carol and Ezekiel, and that whole gang. Like that was all they really had in the episode for the most part. There wasn't really much else to it, which is good. Like that's how it should have been. Because I like the way that as you were talking about earlier, like the editing with like with what was happening with Morgan and that savior, and then like Carl talking about like how we need to show mercy to our enemies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I really like that juxtaposition between like Carl's words of wisdom and then like Morgan committing like a vile act almost in a way. Like even though like you could kind of say that this guy deserves to die, but at the same time he's never really done anything to be like this guy is particularly bad.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not like he's done something like Negan or Simon or like any of those like kind of saviors that are a bit more like you can't really justify what they've done.
But at the same time, they're going as they're showing that they're kind of hinting now they're going to justify Negan slightly, in the sense that because I think because the comic books does this thing where it's like tries to make the point that all characters are evil.
Yeah.
In a sense, they're not really. They're kind of doing that in the TV show, but they're not doing it well.
Yeah.
They're literally like they're basically following the comic book map.
Yeah.
But they're taking like detours and stuff. Yeah. But on these detours they lose a leg or something on the fucking way. Like.
Yeah, I think that too. Or like, yeah, it's just like every time they take the detour, it's on like a really shit road. And the car is like getting fucked up and stuff. That's essentially what's happening. Like every single time that they follow the comics like closely, it's a lot better. And I feel like that's a lot to do with the fact that the actual like quality of the writers for the show aren't great. Like ever since like the early seasons when they like fired everyone when Frank Darabont left, like the actual quality of the writers and directors hasn't been as good as like season 1. I do think it could get better though because the new showrunner directed one of my favorite episodes. It was the episode, you know, Beth and Daryl when they were looking for drink.
Oh yeah.
Everyone hates that episode. I love that episode, man. It's a character study piece. Like that's what I like about The Walking Dead. There's not a lot of action in it, but it makes you love a character that you hate. Like as in someone like Tara could really do something like that right now. Like a really good because her focused episode with that like group of people by like the group of like women survivors.
Well, Tara was actually an okay character for. She was a good character for a good bit.
When she first started on the show, I would agree. She was very good.
She was good. It was the most interesting act she's had was when she was taken up by Glenn.
Yeah, at the very start. Yeah, when she was with the governor, man.
She was with the governor.
All that stuff.
But that was really interesting. But she was like a side. She was a side story when it was the governor.
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh, she was the one who actually survived, and she was like there with Glenn, it was like, oh, it showed that, you know, she was in the opposite. She was on the other team, and they don't focus on the fact that Tara, they don't use her at all. She's a character that they could use so fucking easily about like they, you know, to show the point that she could have easily been with Negan.
Yeah,
she could have easily been like.
Oh, definitely, especially like. But she was with the governor, kind of, for the most part. I know that she didn't, that she kind of put down her gun and stuff. She was with the governor, but
she was still with him, like.
Yeah.
It's the whole point that it's like, you know, I know they were, they were saying that there was, you know, civilians with the saviors and that they had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Rick's team is no better than Negan's in the sense that they were like, oh, you know what, we're going to risk these people's life anyway because fuck them.
Yeah, no, I think that too. I think that as soon as she became like holier than thou kind of thing, is when she became like, I don't know, she's just not a good character anymore. It would be, I don't know why the show chooses to keep her alive. Like when they've killed off, when I think of all the characters they've killed off, I'm just like, why keep her alive? Like really, unless they have a plan for her.
No, I mean, don't kill her. If they have to, if they're going to kill her off, they have to give a good kind of.
Good reason. Negan takes a baseball bat to her head. I know that he doesn't kill women. Good,
like,
but, you know.
I mean, does it like I guess like how they killed off Abraham. He was such a big character, but nobody cared that he died because Glenn was next to him.
Yeah,
that was the one thing about it.
No, I think so too.
Because it was like, oh. Well, I guess they were trying to make the point that, you know, they were trying to give you the shock factor when they killed off Abraham.
Yeah.
When they killed off Abraham, and you're like, oh, it was expected. Then they killed off Glenn. It was like, well, you know,
whoa,
I thought I had a break. I thought it was gone. You know.
Yeah. I also think that they used the rest of that season though to make you care about Abraham with like Sasha and Rosita. Their whole dynamic made you care about Abraham, like the type of person that he was.
Yeah. Well, I guess he was referenced to a lot, especially this season.
Yes, especially towards the end. Like Sasha's entire last episode was how like Abraham essentially saved her.
Yeah,
because she was like in despair.
Because they did flashbacks to him, didn't they?
They did, yeah. In that episode when she was in the coffin, that entire episode was just, you know. And I hope that they do stuff like that with Carl after this. Like that's what I'm hoping, that they continue to like that his presence and influence is felt on the TV show.
Well, they're definitely going to use the notes. They're going to use the notes to talk.
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be nice.
It's a missed opportunity if they don't use it.
Oh, they're definitely going to use the notes, 100%. They made a big deal about it, like, you know?
I mean, the fact that they didn't make a big deal. They just showed that he was writing.
But isn't like
he was preparing for.
There was close-ups.
Yeah,
close-ups.
They were preparing for. He was preparing for his death, and standard thing you do is write notes. But it was like, you know, if he's writing notes, use them. Like, people want to know what's said. And the fact is, he has a lot. You looked at it, and it's like he's a lot of notes. So it's like they're going to cover up the fact that that a lot of people didn't get to say goodbye to Carl.
Yeah.
That actually, because he mattered hugely. Especially they only briefly met. Like Dwight. Why do I keep calling Dwight Daryl Dwight? Daryl was the only character to point out the fact that he saved them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, oh, I completely forgot that Carl went out of actually saved him before he revealed his bite.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Like, I think that the cards could be a good opportunity for voiceover stuff, as you were talking about. Yeah. Like you know, like at the start of the next episode, they do all the notes.
I think they take a break. I think they should take a break. The next episode, they don't go right into it.
Okay.
They could. You see, at the same time, what might happen as well is they might do it so that Rick holds on to his notes till after till the war is finished.
Yeah,
he might do. They might do something like that, which would be like it wouldn't be out of character type of a thing. It would be like, oh, you know, he wants to see what one of the last things he's had to say, you know. Type of thing, you know, what's on his mind.
Mm-hmm. It could be a nice thing as well as like, oh, the war's over and now he can start to move on, and they have this note with the voiceover, and they have like a montage of like people being happy and being free. Like,
did he write one to Judith actually?
Probably, I'd say.
I'm not. I think I saw in the thing he wrote down her name. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw her name, which could be a thing.
That would be nice.
Because they might use that in the next season.
Yeah.
I reckon that I reckon they. I don't think they'll use the cards right away. It'll be something small that they'll use him, but he'll be with the cards. He might be around for voiceovers or something.
I feel like the time skip as well could be quite big. Could be like 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
I think so, because Judith's around 3 at the moment, I think.
She's definitely older.
3 or 4.
She
barely speaks.
4. Yeah.
She doesn't speak at all. It's the first time I ever heard her speak was when in the dream sequence.
But she looks 4.
She's about 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
I don't know, Shane. I don't know what young kids look like.
So. Well, I don't either, Jason.
No, I'm just I think that she'll be about 7 or 8. I feel like she's going to be a bigger character in the next season, for the most part. So it's I think so too. I think that they might spread out those kind of things throughout the whole, But yeah, okay. Overall, what do you think about the episode? Because we'll probably start to wrap this part up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. So before, just to finish off, we'll just do a slight discussion on Negan's appearance in the episode. He was only in for the cutscene at the end.
Yeah.
He was so. Will we say what they did in the comics with him for the future scene?
Yeah.
We'll just say
okay. It's spoil. Okay, for the
spoilery,
next.
Just give 5.
This entire look. Should we maybe do our overall impression first, and then we'll talk about this, so that people that want to hear about this can just skip forward after this to the next part. So yeah, overall, I'd say I'd give this episode about an 8 out of 10. I think I'd be around the same.
Yeah. I'd be around the same. It was, especially for the show right now, it's definitely one of the higher better quality episodes.
Definitely this season, in the last 2 seasons, has probably been a combined like 7 episodes good altogether out of like 32. So it's not been they haven't been on a good roll. Like, so I'm happy that they're kind of starting to maybe put together a couple of good episodes in a row. Yeah. Okay, so the Negan thing.
So skip forward 2 minutes if you don't want to hear it. So basically, what happened was, in the comics, Negan is in prison by Rick, and also I should note in the comics, Carl actually wants to kill Rick in the comics. In the comics, Carl actually does there's actually a dynamic between those characters in the comic, but Carl still has the desire to kill him.
To kill Rick or Negan?
To kill Negan in the comics, but he's in the...
Well, he tries to kill... They kind of do that. They touch upon it. You know when he hides in the back of that...
Yeah, well Carl's dead, so that storyline's finished anyway. Yeah. So so they can't explore, Carl hating him in the prison cell. Also, they basically said, by the dream sequence, they kind of said basically Carl, wants everyone, doesn't care who the person is. They should all be living in unison.
Yeah.
But I think they mightn't do the thing with him. I think that might be actually too far forward that they skipped with. That scene is actually, I think Negan's definitely going to be in prison for at least a year.
I'd say he'll be in prison for a couple of years, man. Definitely, 100%. Like, I think that's not the future. That's just an idealistic version of the future.
Also, a lot of the stuff that, because it was young, I think a lot of because Carl's a lot younger in the comics, so Judith is going to be the replacement for Carl. Actually, that's the one smart thing that the show did, was actually keep Judith as a replacement around.
Yeah, because she's dead in the comics.
She just died with the mother in the comics. Actually, that was such a waste.
Yeah, that was kind of.
It was like, oh, you kill off the mother. It's like, oh, yeah, we killed the child too. But it's like, oh, it would have been more impactful if they just killed the baby itself on its own, and then the mother, Laurel just went off and killed herself or something after.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or if they just not killed Archie in the comics.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the comics don't make too many mistakes for the most part.
They don't know. It's a lot better than
the show. Yeah.
Writing anyway.
For every mistake the comic book makes, the show makes about 30. So, it's like, that's just what it is. Yeah, okay, so I think we'll wrap this up a bit. I just think that, I am hopeful for the rest of this season. We'll be talking about this on the next one. We're going to talk about every episode essentially because,
Do you want to take a 5-minute break before we get into Last of Us?
So we'll take a break for a second, and we'll be with the magic power of editing.
Yeah,
we'll be back in your ear in about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the Oscar nominations, because the Oscars are on Sunday night, of course, on the 4th of March. So
the categories.
I'll just go through the categories we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about Best Picture. We're going to talk about all the acting categories. We're going to talk about Best Director, Adapted and Original Screenplays, and also we're going to do cinematography as well. So we're going to start off with Best Picture, because it's the first category on this page. And we're going to break it into, so we're going to talk about, I'm just going to list off the nominations. We're going to talk about who we want to win and then who we think will win. So for Best Picture, there is Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So Shane, what do you want to win?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of lists, but be Shape of Water. I think for Best Picture would definitely get it, because the other one on the list I have seen is Get Out, but I'm going to be perfectly honest and say I don't think it was suited for Best Picture.
Like even being nominated, or
I don't think it should have been nominated.
Yeah, I think that it's nice to see a film like that be nominated.
It is an indie film, I know that, but it's not. You look at it and you're like, it's not the picture that stands out. It isn't. I mean, Shape of Water. The Shape of Water. There's so much detail in it.
Yeah.
There's just so much. And you compare it to something like Get Out, it's like, how are these two in the same category? Like,
I get that, but I kind of like diversity. Like, I don't mean like diversity of like anything like that. I mean I like diversity of ideas in like kind of award ceremony. So I like the fact that something like Get Out is getting like recognized, because it's a good film.
Yeah, it's very different. But it can get something else. Like, I don't know. It's just like there's other ones that's on it. I haven't seen Lady Bird. I kind of mean.
Okay, so I've seen
that. Looks like it will be. It's suitable for Best Picture. So
the films. So Lady Bird. I wasn't really a big fan of Lady Bird. Not gonna lie. I just feel like it didn't resonate with me the way that it did with other audiences.
Yeah.
I think that, for the most part, it would probably be a lot more suitable to a person from like America. Just because of the issues and themes that they talk about. Like, I know that it does kind of in some way kind of relate to like most people, but I also kind of think in the way that it just didn't really, like, it doesn't hit home with as many people as it could have. I also think that they wasted a lot of like potential with that movie. Like Timothée Chalamet, who's nominated for Best Actor this year, and also what's his name again? The guy from Manchester by the Sea last year. They're both fantastic actors. I feel like they weren't really used to their fullest in that film. I do think that most of that film, the reason that it's good is because that Saoirse Ronan is so good. But yeah, so then the other films, Call By Your Name is fantastic. Like, I don't think it's gonna win, but I'd be happy with it if it won.
What was that?
Call By Your Name is that film, is that, like, it's that queer theory film, essentially. It's a good film. Like, it's about this kid growing up in Italy. He's an American citizen though, and basically this guy comes, this basically like foreign exchange student guy, not exchange student, but like he's a student that comes over to study with his dad, and like he comes over and they kind of like fall in love. It's quite a nice film, I think. Then I haven't seen Darkest Hour. Dunkirk was kind of disappointing, but it's like, it is what it is. Like,
what was that about? Just for
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk, just for
it's about the evacuations at Dunkirk of like British and French troops during World War II.
Yeah,
it's directed by Christopher Nolan. It's a pretty good film for the most part. I wasn't a massive fan of it. I was kind of disappointed by it. Like, I would be annoyed if it won Best Picture. Like, for me, I think what I think will win is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. That is a tongue twister almost. And then what I want to win is also 3 Billboards as well. I think that, like, I love The Shape of Water, don't get me wrong. And then, like, other films I've seen, Get Out and Lady Bird, like, are kind of both okay.
I know, because like Shape of Water is it's a very fairy tale type story of that.
It is, yeah.
I just I won't really explain it much, because you kind of, I went in blind, which is the best way to go into.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it's a very visual movie. It is a lot of it is you have to be a lot of it is about seeing everything. one of the characters in it is one of the characters can't speak, so you have to go. She has to use motion.
Sign language.
She has to use sign language, so you're using your eyes the whole time to get across the thing. Which is one thing. It's the most suitable one for the category Best Picture, because Best Picture means it's the most visually appealing.
No, there's other. Best Picture just means the overall package of like how good is this film as an overall package. It doesn't mean visually.
Doesn't it?
No, visually is like cinematography and stuff like that. Like Best Picture is just like the overall best film of the year. And I think for me that's Three Billboards. For you, that's Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. So you do you think that Shape of Water will win too? Or
doubt it. I doubt it.
So what do you think will win if you were to say?
See, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of the movies on it, but from what you're saying, I would probably agree with Three Billboards.
Yeah, Three Billboards is a great film, man. So we'll move on to swiftly to lead actor because we don't want to spend too much time on each category.
Actor, yeah.
So the nominees are Timothée Chalamet for Call Me by Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and then Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. So I think that for me personally, I've actually only seen 2 of the films on this list. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, and I think, okay, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. Who I think will probably win will probably be Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. Simply because from what I've heard about his performance in that film, like, he basically plays Winston Churchill during the kind of D-Day landings, and like it kind of explores Winston Churchill's his like doubts about the success of D-Day. Essentially, like, he's not sure if the Allies can like succeed in that operation against the Germans in France. So apparently from what I've seen from like trailers and pictures and stuff, he completely transforms himself as he always does. Like, Gary Oldman is a really transformative actor. And I do think that he'll probably win because he's probably deserved it for a long time anyway. Like, he's essentially one of the most memorable parts of every single film he's in. Like, even if you look at something like his early work, like Leon the Professional, he is kind of the standout in that film. Even though he's kind of a side character almost. So I think he will win. Who I want to win though is probably Timothée Chalamet, simply because in Call Me by Your Name he was breathtaking. Like, especially in the credit scene, when he's essentially like, it's just showing off his acting chops in like an extreme close-up of just his face next to like a fire. And it's just like one of the most powerful performances I've kind of seen all year. What about you, Shane?
Well, I am very happy to see that Daniel Kaluuya is on the list for Best Actor. I don't think he'll win. There's such a big competition on it, but I mean, I feel he's not recognised enough.
No, I don't think so.
I've only seen him in 2 different things. I've seen him in Black Mirror.
He's fantastic in that.
It's wonderful. He's brilliant in that. And in Get Out. In Get Out, there's a scene where he's standing there and still, and just tears start flowing down his eyes, which is like huge.
Yeah,
like,
it is. Yeah, that's like the most memorable scene.
Such an intense scene, like.
Yeah, like the acting he displayed in that was fantastic. I'm really happy that he is he's getting recognized as well. Like, I can't really think of anyone else that I would put in this list above these. Like, maybe Ryan Gosling for Blade Runner, but Blade Runner was just shafted completely, so let's not even talk about that. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so you're saying that, who do you want to win? Do you want Daniel Kaluuya to win?
Yeah, I'd say that.
And then who do you think will win?
I think
Daniel Day-Lewis as well. Like, he's a force, like, to be reckoned with in Oscar season. Like, he's 4 Oscars, I think, or 3. He's 3 out of 5 nominations so far. This is a 6th nomination, so if he wins this, he'll have won for more than he's been, like, for over half, like, which would be an amazing achievement.
See, I haven't really seen any of the other movies, but like, I mean, Gary Oldman is a great actor anyway. I wouldn't really know Timothée Chalamet
too much,
work at all, like. And Denzel Washington's a brilliant actor, so it's very difficult for me to judge at this point. Like,
okay, cool. We'll move on to lead actress then. So I think that for the most part, the 2, even though Meryl Streep is always kind of in contention with these awards.
What a surprise! She's on another list.
I know, yeah.
The Oscars.
She'd always nominated, like, but it's because she's a good actress. Like, I mean, like, say what you want about her as a person, but as an actress, she's like fantastic. Like,
yeah.
I do think that the front runners in this, I'd say the main 2 are probably Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water and Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. But I also think that Saoirse Ronan could be a dark horse for Lady Bird.
I am surprised to see Margot Robbie on the list. Actually, she deserved it. I actually, because there was another movie that she was in recently that I thought that she could have been recognized for as well. Was Goodbye Christopher Robins. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that. Actually,
she's in that. You know what that's about? It's about the writer for the Winnie the Pooh books, and he he based it off his son, and it's basically the intensity that the child had to go through because of it, and how strict the mother was in it.
Yeah.
But I guess out of the two roles she did play, Tanya was definitely a bigger role. She played the main character in it. Like, I mean, the focus in Christopher Robins was the well, I guess if she was recognized for anything from that movie, it would be she would be supporting actor, I guess.
Yeah.
Technically, but lead actress, I guess it makes sense she's in it because she's the character is kind of like I know it's based off a true story, like, but the character is so kind of bizarre. The story is so bizarre that it kind of she brings it to she gives another opinion on the character, like.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Like, there's no innocence to the character. It's like the character did wrong, but maybe she was wrong too. It made you question.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the difference between like the stuff she might have done might have been wrong, but like society as well. Like, what part did that play in like the things that she did wrong? But yeah, definitely the main two. Then you also saw Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. I would say though, I seen that Shape of Water and I, Tanya. I would say that Sally Hawkins in Shape of Water definitely deserves in more. She was playing a mute character.
Yeah.
So she was there the whole time using sign language to communicate, and it wasn't just sign language she was using to communicate with the audience, because when you're using sign language, most people don't know sign language.
Yeah.
So someone has to speak for her. But when she was communicating through dance and motion and like. And the visual imagery of her bringing out the eggs and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think she was fantastic.
She could win. I think she could win for Best Actress.
But then Frances McDormand, then in Three Billboards, she was like powerful. She essentially plays a mother who's looking for justice because her daughter has been murdered. So she's obviously like kind of broken, like a messed up character, but she's like fantastic in it. Like, she's very, very good. Like, I would say then Saoirse Ronan as well was probably the only part about Lady Bird I actually liked for the most part.
I've seen enough cuts of Lady Bird to say that she definitely did it very well.
Yeah, she's always good in everything she does. She's a great actress.
Like, it seemed like she was, because she in person she's very Irish.
Yeah.
She she sounds completely different, but she really like intensified her role, like.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd say Sally Hawkins. I'd still say probably
for who you thinking.
So I think Best Actress would be Sally Hawkins. But I feel like Meryl Streep nearly always gets it anyway.
I really hope she doesn't win. I haven't seen The Post, but I just think that like the other performances, like, I would say
she'd have to be wonderful. I'd have to see it now to really. Like, if she does win it, I'd nearly go out of my way just to watch it. Just to
see if she deserved it. I don't think she will though. Like, from what people are saying this year, I think it's between Sally Hawkins and Frances McDormand. We'll have to see. So we'll move on to supporting actor now. So the nominations for this category are Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, and Sam Rockwell for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So for you, Shane, you've seen All the Money in the World, because I haven't seen it because it just didn't really catch my eye as much as it probably could have. So what would you say about Christopher Plummer in that role? Because he's getting a lot of buzz.
He was the best part of the movie.
Oh yeah,
I would say he definitely stood out. It was like it was amazing to think that he he was only in it. He was the last minute call. Like, it was a month till they came
till
out.
Release. Yeah, and they reshot all of.
They reshot all of Kevin Spacey's stuff.
Yeah.
I'm I'm glad that I didn't get to that it wasn't released Kevin Spacey stuff.
Well, the film
it was apparently
really
a very different character.
Yeah, apparently the stuff with Kevin Spacey wasn't as good. I do think that a lot of the reason why people might be saying that is because of what happened with obviously Kevin Spacey.
But he was originally Christopher Plummer auditioned for it as well.
Yeah, he didn't get it. Yeah, that's pretty. It's kind of funny. It's also funny as well because they used prosthetics for Kevin Spacey, and it's like they could have just used Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, Kevin Spacey's way more known than Christopher Plummer.
Yeah,
Christopher Plummer is a Canadian actor, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe
he's known in Canada. He's well known in Canada.
He's a pretty big actor for the most part. Like,
I think it's Canada, or it could be somewhere. It might be somewhere else. I look it up just so people don't give out about it, Well, like he's a big actor somewhere anyway. But I didn't really know him much at all, to be honest. So until this movie,
he was in The Sound of Music.
That's
kind of all I know him from. He's in the girl with the dragon tattoo as well, but I haven't actually seen that. So
I haven't either.
Yeah, like to be honest with you, like he's more type of person that I know the name and not the face. But yeah, no, like he's still a pretty big actor. Like I know not as big as Kevin Spacey, but like Kevin Spacey was like one of the biggest people in the industry until recent times. Like, so he's kind of more of a name. Even though I always kind of wondered why like Kevin Spacey didn't get a lot of the roles that I thought he deserved, because he was always so good in everything he did. But like well, it's kind of hard to almost tell now why that really happened because of the scandals. Like, was it because of people knew about that, or was it because he just didn't get the roles because of fairness? But who knows? Like, that doesn't matter now. Outside of Christopher Plummer, then I think that I am kind of surprised that Woody Harrelson got nominated for 3 Billboards. Like, he was very good in the film. I do think that supporting for outside of Frances McDormand, like Sam Rockwell kind of stole the show as far as like supporting actors go. I do kind of think that maybe Woody Harrelson, like, I think that Armie Hammer probably deserved it over him. Like, Armie Hammer was fantastic in Call Me By Your Name. I do think he was a bit shafted this award season with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this is like one of the only ones that Woody Harrelson's been nominated for, because it's always kind of been the main trio of Willem Dafoe, not Christopher Plummer, Richard Jenkins, and Sam Rockwell, and then it's kind of been like swapping out between a couple of actors for the other two spots. But I am also happy that Woody Harrelson's been nominated for the most part, because he's always good in everything he does, and like he did a very good job in 3 Billboards as well. Like, it's just that when you look at someone like Armie Hammer, you kind of think like maybe he deserved a bit more to be nominated. Yeah, so I think overall, even though I loved Richard Jenkins in Shape of Water, he was fantastic.
Oh, he was very good. I don't know. I mean, like, I recognise the character was great and all, but there was Christopher Plummer was definitely more worthy than Richard Jenkins. Like, I mean, Richard Jenkins. Do
you think? I thought Richard Jenkins was. I haven't seen.
Richard Jenkins had he had a good role in it.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the best parts. Honestly,
he was definitely he was one of the best parts. But I mean, Christopher Plummer was the drive to it.
Yeah,
it was the whole thing. It was like he was a character you wanted to see.
I liked seeing Richard Jenkins too. I liked his story.
Even though he was a supporting character, the story was somewhat about him.
Yeah.
It wasn't directly, but it was him. Like,
well, like Richard Jenkins kind of epitomizes what a supporting actor should do in a film. Like, they're not taking away all of the spotlight from the lead actors, but what he's doing is adding a lot of substance with, like,
you kind of behind the scenes what's going on kind of.
Well, yeah, but it's about this guy who's like essentially like he doesn't know what's happened to time. Like, he's lost track of time, and like he looks in the mirror now and he doesn't recognize himself. And like that's something that a lot of people can relate with. Like, where you think like you have your whole life ahead of you, and then like it all just seems to go like that. That's kind of what his character's arc is like. It's like kind of getting over that and like kind of overcoming it and like accepting fate, like, and accepting your reality. That's kind of what his character is all based off of. I think overall though, I would say I think Sam Rockwell will win it, and I hope that he wins it too, because he was the best.
You haven't seen the Florida Project?
No, I feel bad for Willem Dafoe, because apparently the Florida Project, it was actually in our cinema in town for like 2 months. So like, I'm not even gonna lie, I just didn't go to see it. Apparently it's fantastic. I do want to, because I really like Willem Dafoe, and I think that he definitely deserves an award for something, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say like either way, and I haven't heard much buzz around it. So okay, so we'll go on to supporting actress now. So the nominations are Mary J. Blige for Mudbound, Alison I think Janie or Jenny for I, Tonya, Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, and Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water. So I've only seen 3 out of 5 of these films. I haven't seen Phantom Thread or I, Tonya. You've seen I, Tonya though.
I've seen I, Tonya, yeah. Second there, I just
I think overall though, out of the other 3 actresses, I thought that Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, she was pretty good. I don't think she was standout though. Like, I don't really see why she's been nominated here. Octavia Spencer, then more I can see why she's been nominated. She was fantastic in it.
She was very good in it.
In her scenes, like I don't think she ever stole the show.
She didn't. I mean, like, going back just to the best supporting actor. What was his name again?
Willem Dafoe.
No, not Willem Dafoe. The fella in Shape of Water.
Richard Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins. He he deserved his spot more than I think he had definitely more scene than her.
Than Octavia Spencer, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I know they're 2 different categories, but
I agree with that, man. I think that he was definitely a lot more memorable than her character, but I also do think that in the scenes that she was in, like, especially,
I guess she deserves a slot in the nomination.
No, I think so too. She was good in the film, man. She was definitely good. I don't think she should win. Who I think should win out of the people I've seen, because I haven't seen I, Tonya, I haven't seen Phantom Thread, but Mary J. Blige in Mudbound was fantastic. Like, I don't think that she gave the best performance in that film.
Alison Janney was brilliant in I, Tonya.
Was she?
She nearly stole the show. She was evil. Like, I mean, the character was like, it was like she was old and bitter, and kind of, it was like mean spirited kind of a thing. But they showed another side as well. It was like you saw 2 different pictures kind of to it, but she was definitely more focused. Every time you kind of saw most people's eyes, she was just bitter.
Yeah.
And she kind of, if she was telling the story slightly, it showed a bit of expression of, her trying to help with that. If she was on the camera, she was a bit nicer or something like that.
Yeah. So she's kind of a two-faced.
Not two-faced, because the way the movie was made out was that it was made in the sense that it could be, this is what this person's saying. Yeah. This is because Tonya was saying what happened and it was being shown.
Yeah.
And someone else was saying what happened and it was being shown, kind of.
Okay. So getting back to Mary J. Blige real quickly before we move on for Mudbound. I don't think that she gave the best performance in that film. I do think that the lead actors, I can't think of their names. Like the guy that played Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton, and I can't remember the other man's name. They're not really well known actors. They're small actors. Like, I mean, this film came out on Netflix. I feel like that's the main reason why it's not getting the recognition that it deserves, because really, like, it should be nominated in way more categories.
Well, the fact that Netflix movie got nominated for it is a big deal.
It is. It's changing. It's showing the changing times, because, like, say, Beast of No Nation back in 2015 or 2016 with what's your man's name again? He's in can't think of your man. He's in Luther and you know what I'm talking about.
Seen Luther.
What else is he in? He's in Prometheus. Man, I can't think of your man's name, but in Beast of No Nation, the main guy in that, like, he really should have been nominated for at least Best Supporting Actor that year. Wasn't nominated for anything. Beast of No Nation got no nominations at all. So I'm happy that Mudbound is getting a bit of recognition, and I do hope that Mary J. Blige wins this category, because I think that she was probably the best. Like, she plays this kind of wife who's quite unhappy with her life, but she's trying to do her best in, like, a society which, like, deems racism to be, like, just, because it's essentially about, like, the story about African American soldier that comes back to America, like Mississippi I think it is, after World War II, and, like, the juxtaposition between how he's treated in Europe and how he's treated in America is, like, startling to see. So yeah, I do hope that she wins that. So I'd say I think that she'll win it, and actually no, I think that Alison Janney will probably win it for I, Tonya, because she's getting the most buzz, but I hope that Mary J. Blige wins it. So then we'll move on to director, which is kind of... it's a good category. I don't know. I actually kind of disappointed who's been nominated, to be honest with you.
Well, Guillermo del Toro definitely deserves this spot.
He'll win it, though. I think he will win it. I think if anyone other than Guillermo del Toro wins it... I really hope he doesn't win it, man.
Well, he directed it very well.
He was really good, but Get Out of Water. The Shape of Water is a different level of filmmaking.
They're very different. Like, because it's like Guillermo del Toro showed his whole mind in directing it. Like, Get Out was like, I mean, it definitely showed it was original and it showed some bit of, it showed a very, it was very it was just very good anyway.
No, I get you. Like, Get Out kind of, like, it's a really really good and different film for a first time director, man. Like, to think that guy's a first time director, like, I mean, he's probably directed other stuff in the past too, but like, first time feature film director, like, that's crazy. Like, especially like everything he's done before this is comedy, and this guy comes out with this like dark, twisted. It's almost like a horror, but it's almost like a thriller as well.
Yeah, it is.
It's a mad film. Like, I think that. So for me, I don't know why Lady Bird's been nominated for her. Like, Greta Gerwig, like, like, say what you want about her, I don't think that she deserved to be nominated. I look at something like Three Billboards.
Sounds like it deserved.
Dunkirk definitely deserved to be nominated. As much as I don't like the film so much, as in I like it, but I didn't love it. I think that the way that Christopher Nolan directed that film was fantastic. Like, I just think that he really showed his vision for a kind of a war film without characters. Essentially, that's what it focuses on the event more than the characters, and that's just not for me. But like, I get that a lot of people really enjoyed it. I do think that like the actual filmmaking in that film was fantastic, so I do think he deserved it. I just think I can't look past, like, I haven't seen Phantom Thread. Paul Thomas Anderson is fantastic. Like, I've seen There Will Be Blood, which also had Daniel Day-Lewis in it. That was a fantastic film, like, very well directed. I just can't look past The Shape of Water though. I think if anything else wins it, it won't be deserved.
Yeah. Really.
So yeah, that's essentially where I'm at, like, with that.
Is that all the categories that we're going to do?
No, we'll do adapted screenplay, I think, and original screenplay and cinematography. So only 3 more categories. Yeah. We'll get through them. We're gonna go through these quite quickly. So adapted screenplay is Call Me by Your Name by James Ivory, The Disaster Artist. Yeah. I'm just gonna say the name of the films from now on. Logan, Molly's Game, and Mudbound. So you've seen.
I've only seen Logan out of that now.
Yeah. What do you think about Logan then?
Logan, it was well written, but I honestly didn't enjoy it as much as most people.
I love Logan, man. It's one of my favorite films.
I mean, I hate saying this, but I've seen it before. Like, it just in video game The Last of Us, I felt like I went through that experience, but also I just didn't feel as connected with the characters as much in Logan.
I felt really connected with the characters. Honestly, if I had to pick one of those films to win, I'd probably pick Logan simply because it's its only nomination. But I also would say that I like The Disaster Artist. I think that it was quite a funny film. If I was to pick though, like, if either, because I haven't seen Molly's Game. Like, I really like Aaron Sorkin. Like, obviously The Social Network's a great film. Like, he always does a fantastic job with screenplays. But if I was to pick a film to win, I'd probably either go Call Me by Your Name or Mudbound or Logan, one of the 3. Simply because all of those films had really powerful scripts. Like, really well written dialogue, like really well developed plots. If who I think will win, I think that Call Me by Your Name will win. Who I want to win, I'm gonna say Logan, even though I love Mudbound.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go original screenplay now because you've seen more of those films.
Yeah.
So The Big Sick, which I haven't seen actually. Apparently quite a good film. Like, it's getting a lot of kind of. It was a smaller film that's been kind of picked up by mainstream audiences a bit. Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I swear I'll get it right one of these times, even though we're basically done now. Yeah. So you've seen Get Out and you've seen The Shape of Water.
I've seen the 2 of them, yeah.
So out of those 2, which do you think kind of has a better script for the most part?
I mean, Get Out does have a nice script. It has a very good script and it's well thought out. But there's a lot more layers in The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. I mean, it's like there was people were saying about how it was kind of they reckon it was based off of some short. Before I forget what it's called, but there's controversy over that. But it has so many layers to it that it doesn't matter. Shape of Water was just there was like it connected to the Greek mythology. There was a lot of that in it, and there was a lot of fantasy in it. They had the Beauty and the Beast, which was the huge thing that they kind of connected to. They had the Little Mermaid, which they did slight connection to, and it was religious type things as well. The idea that of a god and stuff.
Yeah, no, there was definitely a lot of that kind of like kind of religious mythology and stuff like that.
So I definitely say The Shape of Water. I really enjoy Get Out, but it was just, I feel there are two different categories.
No,
two different levels. I mean,
I completely agree with that completely. I'd say Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri as well would definitely be up there for me. Like if either of The Shape of Water or Three Billboards won, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Because Three Billboards is just like fuck, it's mind blowing. Like on a story and like dialogue level. Okay, so the last category we're gonna do is cinematography. Mostly because I want to talk about Blade Runner, not gonna lie. So the nominations are Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and The Shape of Water. So looking at this category, Shane, you've seen
Shape of Water.
Have you not seen Dunkirk?
No.
Oh, Dunkirk's quite a good film. So this you talk about the cinematography in Shape of Water, like you talk about that all day. It's like it's fantastic.
Yeah, like, it's good. I feel really like we mentioned it too.
We've mentioned a lot already. I think that we should use this time to more focus on maybe other films we haven't talked about too much. So Blade Runner 2049 we haven't talked about at all because it's not nominated. So Roger Deakins has been nominated for 14 Oscars. I think this is either his 14th or 15th nomination. He hasn't won yet. I think that he'll win. Because he deserves it, but also Blade Runner 2049 is a cinematic marvel. Like it's definitely one of the best films I saw last year. It's got great performances by everyone. Script is top notch. The direction is fantastic, but the cinematography is another level. Like the coloring and like things like that they use in the film is like fantastic. Like there's a lot of oranges, a lot of like kind of grittier kind of colors, especially when they go to, I think it's Las Vegas later on in the film. That sequence is fantastic. And then like they use they use lighting very well with like what's it called? That kind of lighting. Neon lights. They use a lot of neon lights. Kind of reminds me a lot of Driver. Or no, sorry, just Drive. What am I talking about? With the same actor, Ryan Gosling, different director and all, but yeah, like I do think that it probably deserves it. It stands out really well. Like Mudbound as well, I would say is fantastic. Dunkirk as well, but I just think that Blade Runner deserved to be nominated for more anyway. So basically, every category is nominated, and I just think that it should win. But especially in cinematography, like it really deserves it. So yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. So thanks for listening to this first episode of the Fish and Chips podcast. We'll probably be making this a weekly thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we hope that you'll come back and listen again. Hope that you'll subscribe and like the video and maybe share it with your friends as well if you don't think it's complete horse crap.
And leave a nice comment below, please.
Yeah, leave a really nice comment like fuck these guys, I fucking hate them, pricks.
Oh yeah.
That's the type of comments that you should be leaving on this podcast if you're here this long, because I mean this is a long podcast. So so thanks for listening anyway, and goodbye.